Okay, got this. Heartbroken. It can mean so many different things to different people. You can be heartbroken over the end of an important relationship, over the state of the world, or of course, over the loss of a loved one. Hello, everyone. I'm Coco, and welcome to this week's episode of the Afternoon Macaroon. Today, we're going to be focusing on a big one. How do you mend a broken heart? Heartbreak is loss, the shattering of a future we had penned into the inky shallows of our mind. That future is lost, and that type of heartbreak leaves you with a deep grief for what could have been. A beautiful future you had created for yourself, sometimes washed away in an instant. This happened to me just a few weeks ago. It was a sunny Sunday afternoon in Southern California, and I was running errands with my husband. We stopped at a local cafe to get a sandwich, and this bakery really had grown in popularity in the past few years since it opened its doors. And because of that, there was a line out the door spilling out onto the sunny streets of La Jolla. And so we were standing there, trying to wait patiently as the urgent grumblings of our stomach protested loudly otherwise. And trying to keep my mind occupied, I started thinking about all the bread inside the bakery. I thought about those crispy baguettes resting peacefully in their wicker baskets inside, their crunchy outsides just waiting to be ripped into. I wished I could devour one on the street right there, just gobble the whole thing. I thought about the last time I had done that with a friend when we were in Paris, the best place to eat an entire baguette on the street. The bits of bread flaking, falling like confetti onto the floor where pigeons were eagerly awaiting any escaped breadcrumbs to nibble on. And that was it. That was all it took. I felt the storm clouds wash over and my eyes well up with water that was barely contained by my lashes and sunglasses. Tilly, my niece, passed away 7 months ago. Today, a day after her 4th birthday. I had dreamed of taking her to Paris. No one would have had a better time in Paris than my Tilly. She was born for that city. It was the perfect combination in a little girl of style and sass and beauty that the city just loves. I dreamt of eating those crunchy baguettes with her on the cobblestone streets of that painted city, of creating that memory for us to share in together for the rest of our lives. I felt like that time was stolen from us. I was standing there in the middle of the street, surrounded by people, heartbroken and mourning the loss of a memory that would never be able to ink itself into our shared history. I felt one hot tear escape the well and flee down my cheek into the sunlight. I surreptitiously wiped it away. The whole episode of internal monologue and sadness had taken no more than 90 seconds, and no one on the street surrounding me, including my husband, who was standing just inches from me, had noticed anything. It happened in a flash, that pain of heartbreak. I felt this vast emptiness settle over my chest, and my mind began to walk down the path of what could have been and what won't ever be, the permanence of it. And I felt my heart begin to crack under the weight of that sadness. Grief is a bitch. It can hit you anytime, any place, with little more than breadcrumbs to lead you to its source. Later that day, I was speaking with my older sister and Tilly's mom about my grief. We find it helpful, or at least I do, to communicate about this via text message. Sometimes it's very difficult to hear the person that you love in such pain. And when they're talking about their grief and their heartbreak and their sadness, that is inevitable because it is emotional. And that can sometimes distract from being able to provide help and feedback or camaraderie, because you want to quell that pain. You want to take away their sadness, but you can't. So over text later that night, I was recounting my emotional episodic adventure on the street. Ever the older and wiser sister, she shared something with me that she had found some respite in. And it's the Japanese art of kintsugi. Kintsugi is repairing broken pieces, usually of pottery, with gold gilding. The broken pieces are gilded together, and the cracks are celebrated as part of the object's shared history. The battle scars of a life lived, and they aren't disguised or surreptitiously thrown in the bin and covered up by years and years of more pieces that are discarded, but they are gilded in gold to pay homage and celebrate the life that was lived. It is, in the truest sense of the word, an art. The beauty is found in the repairing. My niece Tilly spent over a year of her life, over the first year of her life, in the hospital, in the NICU and PICU. And during that time, it was very difficult to find any joy or happiness when you have a sick child that is fighting every day. My family and I developed a moniker to show our solidarity and our support and our love for this little girl. And it was Ladybug. Ladybugs are a German symbol of luck. And we started adorning her NICU pod and ourselves and everything we could find with ladybugs. We would buy her ladybug clothing, celebrate with ladybug hats, create posters to hang around her room with ladybugs. My mom custom made ladybug sheets for her NICU pod. Anything we could do to celebrate. Since she passed, I've been finding ladybugs everywhere. My nephew and her brother came to the conclusion that Tilly was reincarnated as all the ladybugs everywhere in the world. And that does bring me some comfort. You can celebrate her in your everyday. I have found objects that have ladybugs on them. I got one tattooed on me. I have a lock of her hair in a little ladybug container I found, and I see them all over. Painted on the steps in San Francisco, crawling on my arm in the rose gardens of Balboa. It is a glistening piece of gold that is helping to fortify and strengthen my broken heart. A way to continue to pay homage and to celebrate the fight that this little girl had in her and continues to give all of us. We won't always have Paris, Tilly and I, but I will always have my ladybug. I'll have the memory of watching her bejeweled blue eyes look up at me in wonder as she heard me play my guitar chords for the first time.
Yeah, it's good.
When Tilly was born, she was on a paralytic for the first many months of her life, and she couldn't interact with the world in a visual sense. So Auntie Coco recorded hours of singing and reading stories, and they would play them for her in her NICU pod all the time. And you could see on her vitals how she reacted to those familiar and loving tones, and the awe and wonder as she tried plucking the strings herself and saw the music escape from those silver chords was a beautiful bit of glistening gold that I will have in my heart. I'll remember the 30-minute episode of putting on her first outfit in the NICU, a feat that required one nurse, two aunties, and of course Mama. But despite all of the beeping and tubes, we got her in a killer outfit. While right now the memories are still painful and raw, I know that they are the gilding that will bond my heart back together. That every painful memory will become a golden stitch in my repair. You see, our grief never gets smaller, but our world can get bigger. I have found some peace thinking of those memories as part of the gilding that is repairing my broken heart. I hope you do too. Age-old question, how do you mend a broken heart? Maybe the answer is with gold. Thank you guys for stopping by and taking a bite of the afternoon macaroon with me. I'm Coco, and we'll be posting new videos every Tuesday that center around recipes to heal your body, and on Friday for recipes to heal your soul. Please like and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.